Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime. Alright, going to the doctor's office, okay? Gonna get a bunch of needles jammed in my knee, okay? And take the pain away. That's what it's supposed to do. We did a trial run, worked pretty well. I'm gonna try her again, see what happens. It didn't hurt anything. And when the pain came back, it came back, and it was what it was. And we know best and worst case scenario right now, so we might as well just go ahead and play around with this and see if it doesn't fix me up and get rid of the pain for another 6 months. By the time the 6 months goes away, probably pain can be gone too, right? So many of these opiates and everything, right? A lot of it's mental, okay? And then it becomes physical because you make the damn receptors so freaky and wide open. You stop taking those motherfuckers. They're open, right? And now you got all sensitivity to pain. You whack an elbow or something that's perfectly fine, and you go, God dang, my elbow hurts, right? You nick it on something, okay? Your receptors are what, you take the pain meds, yeah, you ran into the wall with your bad elbow. That wasn't so bad, right? So, yeah, no wonder they're so addicting, right? You're in pain when you don't need to be in pain when you're off of them, and then you feel great when you're on them, right? You still function in pain, or at least it's lower, right? Yeah, they can be addictive. Well, yeah, they can be addictive, but it's, unless you're gonna be those knuckleheads that take 40 tabs a day or some shit like that, if you take one every 4 to 6 hours, it should be your choice, right? I've always been an advocate of the Constitution and the right to self-medicate. They took that away years ago, and they ruined it for everybody, because you get too many knuckleheads that just are not so when they take drugs, right? They don't do it responsibly, and they just are Looney Tunes, man, and they cause a lot of problems for law enforcement and for people keeping the peace, and it's a pain in the ass, right? Irresponsible people always ruin it for everybody else, you know. Now can't even take drugs without a fucking prescription. That's bullshit, right? Especially if you're a doctor or a nurse or a personal trainer or an athlete. Man, you should be able to take all the drugs that you want within reason, as far as if you're an expert at what you do and what you put in your body. And if it's on you, it's on you, right? If you hurt yourself, whose fucking fault is that? I'm not talking about kids. You ain't in the position to make that decision, right? So yeah, if your parents say you can't take nothing, you can't take nothing, right? That's different. But when you're a grown-ass man or a grown-ass woman, and you can take shit responsibly, then it's your choice, it's your call, it's your body. That's my belief, right? And I don't really care if you agree with me or not on if it's right or wrong. We changed the Constitution, guys, and we didn't do it because, oh man, look at the United States of America. It loves us, and freaking, you know, it loves you guys, and it's trying to freaking to protect you and love you, and that's bullshit. You know why they did that? It's because they freaking didn't like people marching against the bullshit war of Vietnam. Before you get mad at me, freaking, I raised my hand for fucking to go to war in not Afghanistan, but the other fucking place, that other Middle East fucking place with the Saddam Hussein dude. Okay, and I would have probably done it for Vietnam too, because I'm not pinning this on the soldiers who went over there and risked their lives for bullshit political reasons in another country and fucking bullshit containment. Okay, I'm talking about just a bullshit war that caused a lot of lives for no reason. Go in there and monkey with a bunch of shit and get a bunch of people killed, and we didn't even do the job. We went in there and then we went back out. All we did was waste a bunch of time and get a bunch of people killed and traumatized with, you know, PTSD and all this other stuff. So, you know, yeah, bullshit war, you know. And then we get a good one in there, like George Bush, and we go over there and fucking fastest war in history, right? Of course, we took our time with it the next time around, but is what it is. But I'm not against going to war, especially for it's a good reason, you know. The government's good at making it. They can make anything be a good reason, right? Muhammad Ali he sniffed out bullshit from the get-go. He said no Vietnam's called me a bad name because of my race. I face racism all the time. People mess with my people. They mess with me. and I got to go fight against somebody that ain't got no issues with me. I don't have an issue with that country, and that country didn't have an issue with us. So what are we doing over there, right? So, of course, a lot of Americans are very smart onto this, and so they protest, and a lot of them are on drugs. Well, they're very aggressive, right? And not breaking any laws, doing it peacefully. So the government goes, well, how do we get these people off of our lawn? How do we get them off of the street? How we ban drugs, right? And war on drugs now. Okay, that's a hidden agenda. They don't give a fuck about us. Okay, our forefathers did. George Washington, all those motherfuckers, they went to war with us. George Washington fought in the war, man. And that's why I like people like McCain and stuff. He earned it, he'd be a great president, because he earned that shit, right? I don't trust most of these motherfuckers that won't go to war and won't let their kids go into the military. But they're in the House and they're in the Senate, right? And most of those motherfuckers are nowhere around military, unless they're working with them in an office. Very safe and sound, right? With a $400,000 a year salary, even after they retire till the day they die. Man, they ain't doing nothing to fix the country. So that's my my opinion on that. I took some kratom, and so they're going to be checking me with a whole bunch of needles. So I took 10, so I'm going to take another 10 again, and hopefully it won't be too painful. All right. It's been Showtime with Showtime Shredded Fitness over here. I don't think that doing drugs, by the way, is a good idea. I'm just saying put into your body what you know is going to be high benefit, low risk. Do it scientifically. That's where motherfuckers go wrong too, right? They do too much. They do the reasons that people think that it's illegal in the first place. So even though it wasn't illegal for the right reasons, there's some good things that go along with it. But we did change the Constitution, and we're trying to change the Constitution again. We made it so people can't smoke in public. I love the law personally. I hate that shit. Smoke lingering all around and shit. You got kids walking around bowling alley inhaling that shit, secondhand smoke. It's affecting other people, so I get that now. I got it from the beginning, but it's just again taking away business owners' rights on what they're going to allow in their environments, right? I worry about that. I want to take away guns. The bad guys are always going to have the guns, guys. Where are these bad guys, terrorists shooting people at? Gun-free zones, schools, this, that, and the other thing, but people don't know guns. Come on, man. And then they go into a place that's kind of loaded and protected, and good guys with guns. Chicken shits don't go in there, right? So let these good guys have guns, especially the ones that take safety courses every year, and they're gonna only put people down at the last minute. And, let some of these law enforcement and military guys that aren't gonna go off from PTSD and things like that have military, weapons on them, so that they can. So people like that can protect people like you and me, right? And if you've had the training, get in there with them. Fair enough? I'm going to take my kratom and get him in there because I'm supposed to be in there right now. It's 3:45, and that's the time I was supposed to be here. So I'm supposed to already be upstairs. So you all have a great day. United States of America, I ain't mad at you. Best country in the world. All I want to do is, bring some balls back into the office, right? And get these motherfuckers in and fire everybody, the House of Representatives and Congress and the whole 9 yards, and get rid of everybody, okay? And bring in a whole new staff. Can't mean that you can't reapply. But we need to get most of you fuckers out of there, no offense. But you motherfuckers are going in there taking advantage of the people that you're supposed to represent, saying that you're going to do the best for us, and you guys go in there and take your fucking naps, and you guys don't come to any conclusion on anything, because you go, I'm Democrat, I'm Republican, I'm liberal, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other thing, right? I'm a Tea Party guy. I want to legislate laws that are religion-based. I don't want any religion in the government, and nobody can agree on anything. And the country gets worse. Why? Because you motherfuckers are getting paid, and if you guys go in there and eating fucking pudding pops and frickin' take naps and you do your playtime and this and that, you ain't doing nothing in there, right? You all except for disagree. You're worried about your titles. You're worried about your status. You ain't worried about the people. You don't care if the country goes bankrupt. Y'all are making money, right? You guys decide to retire at any time, and you're in there for life. So there's no threat on your job. There's no incentive for you to do your job. Some of you are too fucked up, but your mind doesn't even work anymore because you're too fucking old. You know, you're voting on shit like performance enhancing science technology apparatuses and things like that weren't even around in your time, and can't have a say in that. You don't know what's going on. You don't know about medication because there was no medication invented back in 1242. You know, and when you first started, it's like, come on, guys, you know, and then when you leave, you still get paid every year, and I'm okay with that if you bust your ass when you're in there, right? And who cares if you're in there or not at 135 years old, or you get fired because you can't stay awake and you can't agree on the issues and can't read anymore because even the thickest bifocal glasses, you can't read the lettering. I'm okay with you being 135 in there. If you can be proficient at your job, you can be 225 years old. I don't care. You know, I'm not age discriminatory. I mean, there's young fuckers in there too that aren't doing in there fucking playing slap dick and everything else, and not fucking manning up and or getting some, you know, or women in there getting some balls to get the, I don't know if you do call it intestinal fortitude, I guess you would say, to make the country better, man. You know, and that's what I like about Trump, is that at least, love him or hate him, I took a while to warm up to him because I didn't trust him at first. And now I know nothing but to trust the guy because he may piss you off, you may not agree with him, he may be kind of an asshole about the way he says things, but I like him. He's like, PC what? I don't PC nothing, motherfuckers, right? I like that about him. He's not a phony baloney, and we want that nowadays. We want this phony baloney. So this guy is a fluff and puff and acts like a good guy. Comes in, right? Looks the part, looks decent, flashy smile, suit. Never been to war, he never owned a business. Fucking this guy comes in and we're like pawns in chess. He throws us into a bullshit war and all this stuff. He ain't earned his stripes, in my opinion. If he isn't a war hero, if you know, a war hero, you just serve, you know, pay your dues and have some family members in military too. Because if you're too worried, your kid's gonna have something happen to your kids, but then you're gonna throw somebody else's kid in war, you know, shame on you, man. If you ain't gonna, and I can see one or two, you know, here and there having that attitude and getting a pass, right? But every Monday, motherfuckers, not wanting any of your kids in there. What's that telling me, right? I don't know. It makes me not trust people, right? I want people who have been to war. Like Alexander the Great went in and freaking. He might not have been on the front lines. It's stupid. You don't put your leader in the front, right? Yeah, you lead him in the back. He's earned his stripes. He needs to be back there, right? But he's there. He's fucking on the battleground, not in some fucking Oval Office, you know, doing whatever he's doing with whatever. Whether he's a good guy, fairly good guy with doing stuff with his family, or if he's got the secretary bent over his desk, or if he's, you know, doing lines and then putting a hit out on somebody, hiring some thug to knock off one of his adversaries as trying to get him, you know, and take over his position because this guy's, you know, Republicans trying to whack a Democrat, or a Democrat trying to whack a Republican. It gets cutthroat, man. And, you know, you'll get guys that won't do that. They'll be kind of hardcore. Oh, we can't trust, like Trump, you know, and then people go, he can't trust him. Now, what you see is what you get with him, you know. At least you can have an idea, right? Because he'll say what's on his mind, right? Sometimes the more people are open like that, the less dangerous they are. And you get other people that are, you know, dangerous because they talk all this Jesus stuff and freaking, you know, I don't do anything wrong, and I'm a righteous person, and all of this, and this is what we got to do, and get all these people back behind them and doing all kinds of shady and illegal shit, and fucking, they've got all these bad people in the right spots, and oh man, it gets bad. You know why we don't legalize drugs? One of the reasons is because some of these people in politics and everything else, and government and all this stuff, have their hands in the cookie jar, right? With some of these real big, you know, successful, if you want to call them that, with these, whether it be cartels, families, or whatever organization that this illegal operation consists of. Okay, and so I get the black market out of there, right? And make things legal, but make treatment very easy to get. Make needle exchange programs widely available. You got hospitals and all these other things that can take care of people, educate people, and things like that. And are there going to be people that don't take advantage of the services? Fuck yeah, you're going to get people that are so addicted to their lifestyle they won't want to do anything, right? And you can't help those people. You can't force them into. You'll say go to jail or go to rehab. They might play the game, but they're not going to really try to get clean. They're just going to try to pay their dues and get out of there as quick as they can so they can get high again, right? But there are people who legitimately want to get clean, so let's make that available for them, and I think we do a good job of that already. Okay, there's all kinds of programs available, but let's take the black market out of it, right? A lot less crime, everything else. The government makes money on it still. See, the government's afraid to not get paid off by some of these big drug dealers and stuff. Well, make it legal. You might not be getting that spin off there, but you can get spin off of the people every time they buy anything, because you're just taxing every fucking thing, right? It overtax, just like they do with the alcohol, right? You got your alcohol, then you got your tax, then you got your sales tax, then you got your spirit tax, and then your spirit tax on top of the sales tax, and the sales tax on top of the sales tax on top of the spirit tax, the spirit tax on top of the sales tax, and then you've got your federal tax and your state tax and your international tax and your what do you call it? Your compound interest and your principal and your interest compounded on top of your principal, right? The way the Italians do it, right? Government's already like mafia or worse, right? Freaked my buddy out, right? He freaking. I heard he jumped off the Grand Canyon. Then they jumped off of the San Francisco Bridge. I've been hearing different stories, right? But he was a well-off dude, and I bought my Mustang from him, right? Him and George, and the IRS took everything, man. It's a tough deal. Sometimes people would rather be friggin' have their friggin' deal with the Italians, right, and have their nuts in a fucking vice. We'll just go with the cleaner version. Say hand in there or something, or thrown into a giant microwave or something before they get all their money taken away and embarrassment in front of their families, right? I don't know. It's a tough call, because you give people too much of a slap on the wrist, and maybe people don't respect the law, but some people do. They'll bounce back and they make it right, and I don't know. I think they go overboard sometimes. Don't think you should take everything away that a man has, right? But it is what it is. All right, guys, it's been Showtime with Showtime Shred Fitness over here. Gonna take my 10 more kratom. That'll make 20, and then I got to get in there. I'm already 15 minutes late. Hopefully they don't kick me out. Adios. Here's my fills.